And I had forgotten to press record, so we are actually recording now, so that's good news. So, take a look at last time. We did win our battle over here to the north. I mean, it was nice. Apparently there seems to be some sort of issue actually regarding the Confederacy and actually achieving major battles. We had it entitled as a minor battle, when it was in fact not. As we have here 8,039 men of Jackson's Corps here. We have 715 disabled, we do have 18 guns. We did reduce the enemy force to some degree. So this is going to come in quite handy, the Flying Column perk. Copying the French invention, it's possible to break free from heavy logistical chains. Its simplicity is to carry more rations and less clothing and tends to allow longer and faster marches. That's the only issue, that we need to get these forces marching. So what I think I might go ahead and do then is potentially create a new army with only Jackson's Corps, and they actually do have greater degree of really freedom to move in this theatre. That is the danger, because we are potentially engaged here by a larger force, a larger body, as you can see here, since the game wasn't paused. So Jackson's Corps of the Army of Virginia is in contact with the Mountain Department. What are your orders? Well, see, this is the problem here, and I'd like to... Right, we do need to retreat here. So, let's go ahead and pause the game. And I need to just close this temporarily. Okay, so they're set to march now. Okay, good, we're paused. So what I'm going to do then is try to create a new army command and try to rationalize a little things a little bit more. Let's see, so what I will do then is new army. Ideally this will work. What state is this? I forget what bloody state it is all the time. I don't know if I need to do that, but I'm going to try and do it that way, so at least then they do have a maximum amount of flexibility that they can actually possibly have. That should help out. So I'm going to close this. I need to have like some sort of map of the US actually, so I know which state I'm in. Is it Ohio? Is it Ohio? What state is it? Ohio. Ah, nice, I was right, okay. So I'm going to have to make an army of Virginia then, it seems, obviously because that's close by. It doesn't particularly matter actually. We could make it the army of Kentucky. Doubtful. We'll say the army of Virginia then, if it allows us to do so. I don't think it particularly matters in all honesty. But we'll do that. I would like to try and give him his own command. We could potentially, well, we'll take a look at the OOB, see what we can do there. I want to give him as much freedom of action as possible, really. Right, we do have artillery being created over here. Apparently 2 days. Right, okay. This is the Army of East Tennessee. Now, Jackson is under the Army of Virginia. Yeah, Jackson's Corps. How you doing there, Cover? How's the situation in Tennessee? It seems to be well enough. We were moving our forces out. We were actually prepared to engage. We're still trying to deal with the situation over here in Ohio, actually. So what I'm going to go ahead and do then is create a new army. And, so these are the states we have a choice of. I'm going to go ahead and say Virginia, considering that it's the closest state here. So we'll go with that. Right, so this is led by Beauregard. There we go. Right, what I need to go ahead and do then, I don't know if it particularly matters. Let's see. So Beauregard, I'm needing to go ahead and pronounce that correctly. So we do have Fair, West Point graduate, he's a veteran, he is an engineer, that was his branch, and a general. He's not the particularly most competent general here, but this is it. I'm going to try to see if I can actually have some freedom of action here by transferring Jackson's Corps to Beauregard's army. Beauregard, goddamn. So I'm going to try and do that. Transfer. Right. So we have Jackson's Corps. Right, so we have it transferred here. I don't know if we could actually have the Corps as the main body itself. I don't imagine so. Now, if we take a look over here, then we do have the ability to create another division. And that's to create a new brigade. That should be to create a new division, considering that is the Army Corps. So yes, we do have another division here. So I think that's the way we're going to go about things. I mean, it might be that we potentially have 2 brigades per division. I'm not too sure how the Confederacy would have actually organised their armies. Certainly something that we'll have to look into, certainly something I will actually take a look into as I familiarise myself with the region. But at least we do have a little bit more freedom of action here, which is nice. So we do have Henry Heff. Okay, doesn't... this is it. Leadership... We'll have to obviously try to weed out the inferior commanders when we get the opportunity to do so. But I'm going to have them placed into the command here of the new division. Hey, didn't I, Grim? They tend to have at least 2 brigades and an artillery battery. Yeah, see, it would be quite nice to actually have the artillery assigned to each division, so at least each division actually does have some artillery to play with. Let's see, the unit itself, we're going to have to invest, and I think what strategy we're going to try and pursue, and it's one that actually was reminded of through a comment, and that is, potentially we could go ahead and try to purchase the fast rate of fire weaponry, try to place emphasis on that, well, that sort of ability there through, well, firearms, quality firearms ideally, try and gain an advantage. Yes, we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at that. I do need to try and really... I need to build that squadron I've been talking about. Keeps disappearing on me, which is a bit of a pain. Indeed, with some being larger indeed. Right, so... That's 1,200. I'd like to try and balance them to a degree. Of course, they're not going to be equal due to different brigades having more experience than others, potentially armed differently than others. I might even potentially create a 3rd division. I don't think there's a tremendous problem with that. I might go ahead and have the 3rd division perhaps to be the artillery, the horse artillery, and potentially the cavalry, but I don't know if I want to have... I mean, it's very useful to have all, the horse artillery because it allows great freedom of well, just great speed really, isn't it? So we'll have the artillery made with the infantry brigades then, I guess. At least we can have some rationalization of the OOB. Yeah, but this is it. If the weapons do pay for themselves in terms of their effect, then it might be worthwhile. Now, because of that, because this battery actually is able to move out to a greater degree, has a greater degree of flexibility, I'm going to have the 3rd Brigade actually assigned to the brigade, so to the division that has less flexibility with their artillery. At least then they can actually be here to potentially protect the artillery if needed. I could have a divisional command, but I think I might have that as a independent unit, perhaps. They were saying that I probably wanted to have... It's probably better to have a division for the cavalry. At least then they actually have their own commander. Right, so there we go. Ideally, this will allow us to actually make full use of Jackson's Call. Not too sure on that account, as they're under an army command. I mean, ideally will work out. So, we have some interesting commanders. We have Edward Johnson over here. He's not bad at all. The men should actually be ideally satiated to some degree because they're not serving directly under Jackson per se. They are and they aren't. But ideally they won't have any problems with him because we have seen that the army is unhappy with Garden regarding their commander here. So ideally that will be fixed. So let's see, we do have... His branch of arms is the infantry. We could potentially look for a cavalry commander. So he's a brigadier general. We'll go ahead and take a look at the choices here. So we do have cavalry here, leadership. Cavalry, infantry. Administration, okay. Lawton. He looks to be fairly competent there. His administration is quite competent. His initiative isn't particularly competent. His leadership is good enough. Cunning would be nice to have there. I wonder what they... Oh, so star indicates that they're inexperienced. But he has a very impressive leadership there. He is all of the infantry, but he has impressive leadership. Well, and a good enough administration rating and a good enough initiative rating. That leadership is quite nice, though. There doesn't particularly seem to be many who are... Well, actually, no. William L. Cabell is looking pretty good there. Or Cable. He's looking pretty good. He's inexperienced, but he does look pretty impressive, actually. We've got 3, 4, 3. Though, I'd like to go for the cavalry commander. I think it'd be worthwhile, if nothing for the, like, role-playing aspect of the game. If nothing for that. Well. If I was saying that. Though it's hard to say no to that for leadership, so I will go ahead and actually assign William H.T. Walker to the cavalry division there. There we go, Jones's division. There we go. Should be renamed then shortly. So we have 4,000 there. 2,665. Okay. That should work out significantly better. It might be potentially worthwhile to have a division with the 1 brigade there, but I'd like to try and keep the infantry in 1 division, cavalry in another division. But it should work out to a greater degree. We can also try to build it then up in the future. So we'll go with that for the time being then. Ideally, that will give them greater freedom of action than they previously would have had, really. And we do have Beauregard over here, which is nice. Okay. So they're winter quarters. And by the way, if I'm a little bit more subdued today, I do have a bit of a cold going on at the moment, so I'm just trying to, like, get through that. I should recover quickly enough. Right, so they're heading north there. The issues, it might be potentially, I don't know if it's worthwhile fighting in Ohio. Thank you very much, Extreme. That's very nice, Paul. Thank you very much. I tried to make the actual text larger. Ideally, that does look better. I don't know if it looks small enough, but ideally it's legible. I don't know. I don't know if it's actually changed. It might not change there. I might need to go ahead and actually alter that. I'll alter that a little later on, but if I can. And the issues are lack of supplies over here, but we need to get our asses in gear. And they're unhappy, but they are within range. This unit is within command range of the army commander, and will reinforce any battles within that range. Okay, well that's useful enough there, actually. And that's good to know about that. And so we could potentially march back over here to Grafton. There's not much I can do about that. I'm going to allow that order there. Allow them to move out. Frankly, we do have potential to fight here if we can out-march them. And we should be able to do that as we do have a flying column perk. So we should be able to march a superior speed than they can manage. So I was asked here to take a look at the Navy situation. Okay. Okay. I might go ahead and actually just take the pre-existing squadron down here. So we have a New Orleans squadron, and we have the Lake, however you want to say that, Pontchartrain? However you want to pronounce that, I'm probably butchered that. But we do have an existing squadron over here, so I might go ahead and actually just make use of them. If it gets the ships into service, then I'll make use of it, frankly. I need to get something going on here. Right, here we go. No, I have missed some music, actually. Right. Show all fleets. I don't know if that's a new option or I just haven't used it beforehand. Probably haven't used it beforehand. So that's the James River Squadron. New Orleans Squadron here. I can see that we have a number of cotton clads. The Mississippi River Squadron. Charleston Squadron, Mobile, Savannah, Texas Maritime, and we have that one. Which is the Mississippi? Oh, the Mississippi Squadron is to the north, actually. I could potentially have the ships actually placed in with the Mississippi Squadron. That might be the way of doing it, perhaps, and possibly. But it would be nice to potentially have another force. Like, all these cotton clads would be excellent, and I do need to have them used. Okay. It'd be nice if there was like a transfer option over here, that'd be quite useful. And what I'm going to go then for selected fleets. I mean, I could potentially put them in harbour and then transfer them. If I go all fleets. You may have to attack the army of the Ohio under Buell, with the army of Mississippi to try and distract from Jackson. Potentially so. I mean, that's going to be the question there, is how do we manage? Right. Can I take them? Yeah, the issue is I can only transfer them to harbour. Maybe we'll go ahead and we transfer them into harbour, but I should be able to transfer them whenever I like. I guess we'll take that approach. We've tried this a few times beforehand, so I'm going to take about 5 of these guys. And what I can do, because I am weakening the actual, the New Orleans squadron, is I could take this Lake squadron and actually have it actually disperse into the New Orleans squadron. Yeah, they should be able to benefit then. Can I then move them in here? I should be able to do it like that. Attached to fleet. It'll probably take some days to arrive. It's not the way I wanted to do it, but if it works, and I'll be able to make use of them. We are going to need to have more gunboats in that area, more cottonclads. Ironclads would be nice, but cottonclads will have to do for the time being. I just need to try and get some sort of advantage, if at all possible. So what I will do then is take ships that are in harbour and actually make use of them as well, in whatever way we can manage. If something has decent enough... yeah, well, that's the problem here. We really don't have many ships that have very good condition there. But at least they have been moved out, which is useful enough. So it's in here to here. And this is an easy way to manage them, at least. Right. So we do have the Oregon over here, which is a 4th-rate steamer. 5 guns, no armour. We will have them moved. I do have these double-enders over here, which do have about 8 guns. I'd love to know what sort of caliber they have. They have no armour, but they could still be made use of, really. I am quite conscious of the viability of New Orleans, but frankly, if we leave things to just carry on as they are, we are going to be defeated inevitably. The Union blockade is not getting any weaker. We do at least have, regarding New Orleans, we have the ability to make use of the fort guns, as that does help us out considerably. Right, I do have a bit of a cotton-clad ram I'd like to get into there. I mean, we do have a Texas Maritime. It may even potentially be worthwhile to just have that put into the actual harbour pool, but I guess not. We're going to have the cotton-clads moved into here as well. These double-enders, maybe we'll go ahead and we use the double-enders over here as well. It sounds really... I'm saying that every time, it just doesn't... it just doesn't sound right. Talking about double-enders. You may have to attack the army of the Ohio... Oh, sorry, I already read comment, didn't I? I'm not on the ball today, am I? Right, so maybe we go ahead and have that move there. The additional guns would be nice, and I think I will make use of the double-enders then. The other ships at 100% condition can be placed into the New Orleans squadron then. Which is, frankly, only 2 or so ships, but it's at least 2 ships added. At least it lessens the amount of losses completely, to some degree. So New Orleans squadron. Not exactly great, but at least it's something. We have double-enders there with 25%. Ideally, they will be repaired, but we'll see. Right, so we have that then. Ideally, those orders will actually be carried out. That would be nice to see. So we're going to go ahead north. Now, we do have some problems actually regarding the invasion that we see over here by Norfolk. It is surely a problem. Oh, it's not occurred yet. Oh no, it's further down here, isn't it? Whereabouts is the invasion? I thought we had an invasion somewhere. I think we're at the right point. True, small guns aren't particularly as effective, but they can still be quite useful. The ability just to have artillery surely makes up for having none at all, really. As we have our own invasion here. Now, I'm sure that we had an invasion here, but it looks like that hasn't actually happened, so that's intriguing. They don't have their orders to actually shift here. So it looks like this save is actually coming a little bit before what happened then, which at least gives us something to work with. An order is on the way. Yeah, that gives us something to work with there. It looks like they're actually set for a naval invasion. I wonder where they might be heading. But that's interesting enough then. But okay, I guess we can take that as it is then for the time being. Now I do have Hill's Core over here, which I might potentially be able to shift out this way then to be of use. We might have to go with that. We do have the Army of Virginia here in the field outside of Manassas, so at least they are in a strong position. But if I could have them actually move out here to General Beauregard's aid, then that wouldn't be bad. I will go ahead and issue that order. We could try to potentially bring the Mounted Department and the 5th Corps to battle and defeat them. And that's 17,000 men by 73 guns we have over here then. 5,478. I think... Is this before or after? This must be before the victory that we had here. I'm not too sure, actually. I can't recall what date it was when we actually had the battle. But, okay, well, at least we have a glimpse of the future here. We know how to potentially respond to it to some degree. So Jackson's Corps moving out over here then. As to whether or not they'll be engaged or not, I'm not too sure. But we do have some things actually in motion. Yeah, it is beforehand, actually. Because we have our forces over here in Tennessee. I just wanted to get the music working again. As we do have our forces over here that had previously been closer, I believe. Oh, they do have our orders, though. I believe. Can't quite see what these orders are, but they should have them. Orders on the way. Right, okay. Do I have my rail lines being worked on? That's a question. Yeah, I need to get the a new pair of headsets. A new headset, sorry. There we go. Now it's working properly. Oh, God, everything's breaking down on me. It's terrible. Right, okay. So that's underway, which is good then. So we have that going for us. I think we will go ahead and actually order the Army of the West forward, but I will actually take a look at that OOB, actually. Okay. I would not bother with having too many troops in the West Virginia, as it's nice because of the Appalachian Mountains, yeah. And what we need to do then is try to actually overwhelm the enemy in any sort of position and then be able to strive further forward there. Hello then, GPG-09. Can you transfer second corps to the Army of East Tennessee? Potentially so, actually. We'll have to take a look at the merits of that. So I'm currently looking at the Army of Virginia. I'd like to take a look at the Army of the West. So we have the Army of the West here then. So we have this division here. With lacking a corps... it'd be useful to have a corps command, I'd imagine. I think we will go ahead and actually create a corps command. Oh, so it's created another division, but okay, that's not too bad. So we do have Pike's Indian Brigade over here then, so this is cavalry. They are armed with shotguns, which is of course quite useful. So we'll have cavalry in here then, under this division. So we have here then, under Price's division, we have 7,000 men. We might want to try and standardize the amount of men that is under one division, perhaps, just to try and keep things rational. Okay, so time was actually passing by there. More support for Union farmers? Yeah, I think we'd seen this beforehand. It looks like we're a little bit behind where we actually left off last time. But actually does give us something to work with, so it's not too bad then, I guess. Not going to create a new unit, actually. So we'll go back. Right, show me the money. Add new group. As we'll have 4 divisions then, let's see then. Wow, yeah, I mean this is it, we have quite a few brigades here then. We'll try and rationalize things then so we can actually have a decent number of forces under each division. I might even have another division there potentially. Let's see, can I swap them around? Okay, I might have to just go ahead and go like this, just for the sake of things looking right. Yes, under eyes. Indeed. Oh, wow, we do have quite the mix of weapons out here. But even the mixed muskets did actually prove to be somewhat effective, which is quite nice. A lot of it depends on position, really, doesn't it? So that's not too bad. Right, so do have a 6-pounders. I have 6-pounders. We have 12-pounders over here. 12-pounders are quite nice. Okay, so I might have a 5th division then, with 3 brigades. I would like to keep the cavalry separate, so then at least they have as much freedom as possible. But I think this will actually see us being, well, actually see us in a stronger position then, really. We could definitely do with more artillery. But the Army of the West should be actually fairly competent. These changes might take a little bit of time, actually, so I might have to wait for this to actually be enacted. 1 day until then actually sorted out, then, so we'll give that a day, then. Okay, so we'll allow things to proceed. We'll take a look at the actual commanders later on, actually. So, I was told that we can actually recruit Indian forces out here, so I'm going to try and do that. I tried it beforehand and I didn't quite find it, but I'm going to give it another go. So if I take a look over here, then we do have the state. So this is Indian territory here. Can I actually recruit an Indian territory? So I could actually recruit to the Army of the West like that. So I'm going to go to manage army, and I'd like to recruit more cavalry if I could. Do I have... I'm not seeing Indian territory here. Which state is this? Is that Arkansas? Looks like Arkansas, okay. Right. I'm not too sure how you recruit. Right, okay, if I go ahead and actually turn off all, and just put on the Indian territory. Let's see, units. No, it doesn't seem like I can recruit there for some reason right now. We'll have to figure that one out. I did try to find a manual actually on Steam, but I couldn't find one. There might be a manual somewhere else, but I couldn't find it for the time being. So ideally I'll be able to find one in the future. That'd be quite useful. But we'll go with that then, so at least we do have a little bit of rationalization of our OOBs. Well, the Trans-Mississippi Far West is a real backwater, so it's not most important. I'd argue that it actually is in some ways the most important, because this is something of a static theatre to a degree, besides this over here to the north. But actually, speaking of the north, we actually do have Jackson able to move out of here then, which is quite good. So we'll have him actually move here. And now let's see. Let's go ahead and pause that there. I'd like to actually keep this under our control. I really cannot afford... Yeah, you can see that we have the actual town over here of Marietta actually under unit control, which is a bit of a pain in the ass. I really can't afford to lose that. I'd rather fight for that if I could, but I would definitely need Hill's Court to support something like that action. But even potentially being able to oppose that action might not be a bad idea. River crossings are notoriously difficult for enemy forces to cross. It can always be quite bloody unless they have a sufficient amount of mass. But I think I will have Jackson's Corps actually taught to stand and make good their strength here. I do have Hill's Court, and I do not know if it's still worthwhile to have Hill's Court shifted out this way. It might be potentially worthwhile to do that, but we do have a number of things that you take into consideration here at once, really. The main concern for us really is brown water naval strength, essentially. That has got to be the concern for us. We do have the Department of Virginia here. They have no guns. I do not know if it's worthwhile engaging them. We do see that the winter is arriving over here in the north, as far as it seems. It's a large army, the Army of the Peninsula. It is a very large force, and it is going to be one of the armies that I will actually rationalise. I mean, this is it. We have Hill's Corps, which is actually somewhat smaller than the Army of the Peninsula, but the Army of the Peninsula has less guns, 10 less guns. Hey, doing that, Laug? Law Dog. I like that name. Good to have you, my man. Not too bad, thank you very much. How about you? How are you doing? Ideally well. There we go. Getting into the flow of things now. So do have our policies here then. We are working on the industrialization to work in towards the arming of civilian ships. Ideally that pays off to some degree. Okay. Well, the thing is, it's like you compare the size of the Army of Virginia. I mean, the Army of Virginia here is 69,000 men currently. Hill's Corps is only 10,000. It's essentially the same size, well, it's lesser in size of... it's lesser in size than that of the Army of the Peninsula. If the Army of Virginia is defeated, I don't think it's going to be a case of... I don't know. Would 10,000 men make a difference? Yeah, sure. But I don't know if it's the actual number of men that would make the deciding difference there. I think it might be simply a issue of quality and the availability of artillery, perhaps, at that point. But this is where great generals actually do come into play their own, because a great general can turn... Well, this is it, can lead... Well, you can have, like, what is it, a pack of lions led by a sheep. Or you can have, like, a herd of sheep led by a lion. And which one would you think would win? That's kind of the approach I take to things, really. I apologize if it sounded really like blah. I was pretty bad on the first video of the day. But yeah, we have got to take risk, I think. But we've got to hold this. At least at the riverline, I can actually cause a great deal of problems for them. Ideally, holding the town on the other side would be superb. Well, what we, that is actually a good point there, Lord Dog. What we will do in the future then is potentially have a division of artillery, really. That would be quite interesting and actually quite good to work with there, really. It depends, of course. But what we could go for then is like horse battery, which could be quite useful, and have that as a like mobile force of artillery there to work with. I've got them working with the actual brigades, sorry, with the actual divisions at this moment in time, because we don't have enough artillery to really support like a division as such. But we can always take a look at that in the future. See, even the army of the Eastern Sea can actually take that, really. If I take a look, 19 guns. We do have 7th Division here. Give me an approximation of 7th Division strength, 16 guns. But what I want to do here then is sweep into the states over here from the flank. If we can outflank the army of the Tennessee and the army... Is it the army of the Ohio? Yes, the army of the Ohio and the army of Tennessee. If we can actually try and flank their positions and move on Louisville, at least I can actually upend their positions. I don't know if I would actually seek battle, but if I can actually force them to give their positions over here to Charlotte, well, near Charlotte. I'm not entirely sure what settlement this is. But if I could actually uproot their positions... Oh, hello, we see movement by the army of the Ohio. Right, okay. Hey, did that Mike? Good to have you, my friend. Hello there, Grim. Yes, Lord Heavy indeed. Lord Og. I think that's what's going on when you return the artillery to move its following. Yeah, well, that's it, isn't it, really? Gotta learn. Right, so we see that this force is being redeployed, which is interesting. I'm gonna have to take a look and actually see where that development leads us then. They could potentially be marching upon Knoxville here, which is intriguing. 18,000 men. Okay. See, what I might go ahead and actually do is have the 2nd Corps placed into the Army of the East Tennessee then, as I think somebody suggested earlier on, actually. The reason being it does give us the ability to have this act as the command in this area. Okay. So we'll have that taken, temporarily at least. So we have the Army of the Mississippi. We have here then 1st Corps. We have 2nd Corps. I'm going to have 2nd Corps transferred then to the Army of Tennessee, was it? Right, the Army of East Tennessee. You can see that that is in need of rationalization as well. But at least by having the 2nd Corps, I can actually try to help that out. Right now, we just have them directly assigned to the actual army here, which is intriguing. And we need to go ahead and actually try and rationalize that. So, we'll do that in a moment. So what I'm going to do then is take the 2nd Corps. I'm not seeing an option here right now, which is odd. Okay. That's a little bit strange there. I can't seem to do it for some reason or another. Maybe I'm missing something, which is very likely.